The sport dates back, is going back to the fox hunters. And the fox hunters really didn't have an awful lot to do when the spring came around, and they'd get around in the summer and they'd say, my horse can jump better than yours, and my horse can do this, and my horse can do that. And from that, this sport came forward. And when you are one with a horse, when you ride it, it's a feeling that you can't even describe to somebody. And after you have that feeling, you have this unbelievable passion for these animals in the sport. This is the 22nd annual Charleston Summer Classic Horse Show. I've called it a boutique horse show. Most of the horse shows I do have over 1,000 stalls, and this horse show only has 450. We do horse shows in Atlanta, we do shows in Gulfport, Mississippi, we do shows in Pensacola and Jacksonville, and here in Charleston. We get these people who like our horse shows. And so when I put one on in Charleston, we're very lucky that we have people that came from San Antonio, that came from Indiana, that came from New Jersey. And so these are big events, and we have a lot of money that goes through the banks, and banking becomes very important to us. My company's running horse shows is so unique. They don't write a book about this sort of thing. Most people have no idea how expensive it is to put on a horse show. But when you're talking $500,000 to $1 million a week to put on a horse show, it's a lot of money that has to be in that account because you can't get it in quick enough. I banked with a very large bank here in Charleston. And one day I called up my bank here on Johns Island and I asked them for a balance. And they said, we can't do that. You have to call the 800 number. I thought, what in the world? So that afternoon I called my CPA and I said, I'm going to change banks. I need a bank who I can talk to. I need someone who's going to be at the other end. And I need someone who can tell me what my balance is. I said, who do you recommend? And he gave me 4 banks. But when I sat down and interviewed with Regions Bank to ask them if they could work with me, they just kept shaking their head, yes, we can do that. We have this branch here, we have that branch there. We can get this money from point A to point B the day you need it. I signed right there and opened and changed and moved all the accounts over. So I have personal accounts. I have an account for my boat. I have an account for my plane. I have an account for each one of the horse shows. But I really have no worries, and that's really a good feeling when you have so many things going on, not to have to worry about what's happening at the bank and with your money. I get asked a lot by my friends if I'm going to retire and what's going to happen to these horse shows, because I wasn't quite sure how I would get the bank and the CPA and the lawyer and estate planning all figured out so something could be left and the companies could continue. I called Virginia one day and I was asking her about some of the services that Regions could offer for the private banking. And we sat down and had an interview and we discussed all these options because this was important to me. And she discussed having some planning. She sat and talked with my attorney. She talked with my CPA and got the whole thing all put together so we had one little problem to deal with instead of a whole bunch of problems. And I just never expected that from the bank. I didn't expect it from Virginia. And so that relieved all the pressure I had. And working with Regions has been a pleasure.